So today we're working with high school teachers and we're talking about bringing more reading into our classrooms and encouraging a joy of reading with our students. I found that the ease with which we're able to provide student choice in books is pretty impactful. And it was really nice to see and do that work.
As educators, we're working with students all day, every day. We are going to be feeding into their emotional and social growth, whether that's something that we think about as one of our responsibilities or not. It's a natural thing. They're going to come to you with conflicts with their friends or with their boyfriends or girlfriends and things like that. The more that we feel able to talk about this and explore with our students, the better we would be able to provide a learning environment where every student feels safe.
Being able to show teachers how literature can partner with SEL, how SEL does not have to be like an added on thing, like another thing that they have to bring into their classroom, but as they are building their reader's identity and showing them like different books and different genres, different perspectives, they are able to touch on all of these different things within their lessons that they might not have realized before, but that they were already doing. So they're just doing it with intentionality.
Social emotional learning has provided a context where educators and students can kind of come together to talk a little bit more about how are we growing in these competencies, what can we do to make this a safe place for us to learn and for us to grow. And for them to have a seat at the table is something we're really digging into. How can we make that feel natural? How can we make sure students feel like they have a say, a student voice in how school runs? That's been a really big learning for the coming year, and excited to share what comes of that.
We had several totes of just a seemingly random assortment of books, and we all chose them, and we had an activity called an alpha board, and one of the things we did was we just sort of looked at the cover of the book initially, and then we went through the book and found interesting words that started with any of the 26 letters, and it was really just sort of a word gathering activity at first. Beyond that, what we did was we looked at those words and we had conversations around them, and we talked a little bit about how they connect to larger themes or even how they connect to some of those identities that students identified initially. It actually was an enjoyable time, and books didn't feel scary. They felt like something that was fun.
When students don't see themselves positively reflected in external circumstances, then it can be really, really important for them to see themselves positively reflected in literature, to see themselves celebrated, to see themselves respected. They can feel that sense of pride in who they are and where they've come from and their families, their communities. So it's just really critically important that we continue to increase the diversity of our library collections.
This partnership this year with Readership has been a way for us to exercise those muscles together and to explore the ways that social emotional learning can feel like a natural fit in literacy conversations.
I think a book is a great way for a student to see themselves. I think it's important for them to have the opportunity to choose books where they act as a mirror and sometimes as a window, so they can actually see the book reflecting their own identity back to them, but also give them some insight into other people's experiences, traumas, and just anything that might broaden the way that they can move about the world.
Making sure that we are looking at each individual in front of us as as an individual, not as a reading level number, or not as maybe a group of students, tapping into their interests and making sure that they feel like they have something to bring to the table as a reader, I think is really important in engaging readers.